Hi there. My third example of rubrics with D2L is getting a little more complicated. So I'll show you an example of something I did for a poster. Okay, so we'll head into, this is one of my students, and we're heading into Kim's Dropbox. And if we have a look at um, Kim's computer hardware poster project. Okay, so if we have a look at her feedback, we see that she got 30 out of 30. She submitted one item, and let's have a look at her feedback. Okay, so I can explain this rubric. So as as I as I was kind of working through this process of creating rubrics, I realized that I wanted to use my KICA categories, but I needed to add a lot more feedback and be a lot more complicated with what I wanted to include. So what I realized that if I want to tally up my individual scores for my KICA categories, so I can import those, or I can copy those into WebMarks later on. I want to have my individual scores for my KICA categories. So the best way to do that is to create individual rubrics for each category in D2L. So for example, for this category, or sorry, for this assignment, I have application, communication, knowledge, and thinking. Okay, and so these are actually four separate rubrics that I associated with one Dropbox item. Okay, so if you want to think about um, how that works. So one of the unfortunate things about D2L is that it won't record these separate KICA scores. Okay, you can only associate one grade item with each Dropbox item in D2L. So the score that actually gets added up is the total of all of these four KICA categories. So they get their overall score. Okay, so this score is the total of these four KICA categories. But the individual scores do get stored when you're looking at the student's profile, so that because they're tallied up separately, I can actually easily enter the individual scores into my WebMarks program while I'm looking through their students' work. Okay, so you'll see here that this was an application rubric. As I've gotten better with things, I've realized that I should be including all four levels, but I made a mistake here, and I was just thinking, oh, out of 3 points, so let's make it, 3 points will be a level 3, but I really should be associating this with the four levels that we with how we assess work, students' work in Ontario. You learn as you go, and these are some of the things that you realize along the way. But one of the things I did realize here is that I can add multiple levels. So now as I create a rubric, so this would be the criterion group, and so the criterion group here would be application, and this would have two sets of criteria, and within these levels I have my separate sets of feedback, and also my custom points for each section. Okay, so you'll see that these are all out of 3, but they don't have to be. Okay, I can easily edit this to make it out of 5 and 4, 3, 2, and 1 if I wanted to. Okay, so this is kind of where I'm at now. I think this is actually the best design associated with the KICA categories in Ontario. If you have to evaluate an assignment that has more than one KICA category, I would suggest creating a separate rubric for each of those KICA categories, and then associating more than one rubric with that Dropbox item in D2L. Okay, so you can see that's how it looks, and it works out really nicely. The student gets a lot of great feedback, and they get to see their score and my written feedback as well. Okay, so that's example number 3, and I'll keep going.